Welcome back to your Pediatric Dentist channel Tiny Teeth Talks. If you are new to this channel, subscribe the channel, and for detail of this channel, visit the bio section, or you can also check out my first video. Sorry if there is any mistakes in videos or shorts. We completed two sections in Pediatric Dentistry till now, which are Section 1 Introduction to Pediatric Dentistry and Section 2 Diagnosis in Pediatric Dentistry. Today onwards, we are starting Section 3 Growth and Development, starting with the developmental milestone which everyone should know, and there is no explanation needed, so I am not covering that. Still you guys want, then I will do. Theories of growth is one of the most important question for both undergrads and the masters. So let's start. Facial growth and development is basically an aggregation of structural and functional balance in growth centers which changes the hard and soft tissue body parts. So first and most important is definitions. Here are few definitions of growth and development. Growth, according to Stewart's in 1982, growth defined as a developmental increase in mass. According to Profit in 1986, growth refers to increase in size or number. Same according to Todd in 1931 is also growth refers to increase in size. Development, according to Todd in 1931, development is progress towards maturity, and according to Pinkham in 1994, development address the progressive development of a tissue. Other definitions such as a theory, a set of idea formulated to explain something, an opinion and supposition. Concept, an idea or a general opinion. Hypothesis, a supposition put forward as a basis for reasoning or investigation. And principle, general truth used as a basis of action. Starting with the theories of growth, first theory, bone remodeling theory, which is popularized by Dr. Charles H. Brass in 1930, and this theory focuses on the continuous process of bone resorption and formation that occurs throughout life, ensuring the maintenance and renewal of the bone tissue. It has a three key principles. First, oppositional growth. Bone growth occurs by the addition of the new bone tissue at the surface of the bone, known as oppositional growth. Then bone deposition occur at the posterior surface of both the maxilla and mandible, is known as a Hunterian growth, and bone deposition happens on the ectocranial, which is the outer surface of the cranial vault, while resorption occurs on the endocranial, which is inner surface. It's known as a calvarial growth. So according to this theory, bone remodeling involves the coordinated action of osteoclast and osteoblast. This process is essential for maintaining bone strength, repairing micro damage, and adapting to mechanical stress. Brash theory emphasized that all craniofacial skeletal growth occurs exclusively through bone remodeling at its surface and with little or no role for the suture and cartilages. So consider the scenario where an individual undergoes orthodontic treatment with braces. The braces apply mechanical forces to the teeth, which in turn stimulate the bone remodeling around the roots of the teeth. Osteoclast resorb the bone in response to the pressure, while osteoblasts form new bone to accommodate the new tooth positions. This process allows the teeth to move into their correct alignment over time. The bone remodeling theory by Brass is not widely accepted today because it oversimplifies the complex process of the bone growth and remodeling. Modern research has shown that bone growth involves multiple factors, including genetic, hormonal, mechanical influences, which are not fully addressed by Brass theory. So basically, in bone remodeling theory by Brass is bone resorption and formation for the growth. Coming to the genetic theory, which is popularized by the Alan G. Brody in 1940. This theory said that craniofacial growth is primarily controlled by the genetic factors. Like homeobox genes play a role in regulation of craniofacial development, sonic Hedgehog gene involves in the signaling pathway that guide the growth of the facial structure. Transcription factors, which are the protein, helps turn specific gene on and off, influencing the craniofacial development. And Indian hedgehog protein, which is used in regulation of bone growth and development. Considered a child with a genetic mutation in sonic hedgehog gene, this mutation can lead to abnormalities in craniofacial development, resulting in a condition such as a holopresencephaly, where the face and brain do not develop properly. So basically, according to genetic theory, only genes are responsible for the growth, but why it is not accepted that modern research shows craniofacial growth is influenced by genetic, environmental and functional factors. Coming to the sutural dominance theory, which is popularized by the Seacher and Weinman in 1941, and this theory suggests that the sutures, which are the fibrous joint between the bones of the skull, are the primary determinants of craniofacial growth. And according to this theory, expansion forces at the sutures lead to the growth of the craniofacial skeleton. According to this theory, primary drivers of the craniofacial growth are sutures, so that's why it is not accepted. For example, the growth of maxilla is believed to occur through the expansion of the circummaxillary suture, pushing the maxilla downward and the forward. But research has shown that the craniofacial growth can still occur even in the absence of the suture, indicating that the other factors are also involved. Also, when suture transplanted from face to abdominal pouch, it does not grow. Then coming to the cartilaginous theory, which is proposed by the James H. Scott in 1950. This theory posits that cartilage is the primary determinant of craniofacial growth. He also proposed that the cartilaginous nasal septum has a feature and occupies a strategic position that might cause the midfacial region to displace rather than the suture. Because the cartilage is more pressure tolerant, it has a more capacity to push the nasomaxillary complex downward and forward, and thus giving rise to the nasal septum theory. It is also not accepted because studies have shown that the removing cartilage does not necessarily lead to deformities, indicating that the other factors contribute to the craniofacial growth. So basically, cartilaginous theory shows only cartilage is responsible for growth. Coming to the Van Limburg's concept, which is proposed by Van Limburg in 1970. He proposed the 5 factors that control the growth. The first is the intrinsic genetic factors, which are the genetic control of the skeletal units themselves. These are the genetic components inherited from parents that influence growth and development. Local epigenetic factors. Bone growth is determined by genetic control originating from adjacent factors like brain, eyes, etc. Epigenetic changes means they are the modifications that affect gene expression without altering the DNA sequence. Then general epigenetic factors. Genetic factors determine growth from distant structures like growth hormones, sex hormones, etc. So these are the broader epigenetic influences that can affect the gene expression across the entire organism. So these hormones affect the entire organism. Local environmental factors, they are the non-genetic factors from external environment like habits, muscle forces, etc. And these factors are specific to immediate surroundings of an organism. Then general environmental factors, so these are general non-genetic factors like nutrition, oxygen, etc. And these are broader environmental influences that affect an organism on a larger scale. Coming to the cybernetics servo system theory, cybernetics is the science that deals with the comparative study of the operations of complex systems such as the computers or the human nervous system. It focuses on the principles of control and communication within and between systems, using feedback loops to maintain stability and achieve goals. Petrovic servo system theory is developed by the Petrovic late 1960s, applies the cybernetic principles to describe the craniofacial growth. And according to this theory, craniofacial growth is regulated by a series of feedback mechanisms that interact to control the growth of the different craniofacial regions. There are components of the servo system. The first is a command, a signal established independent of the feedback system. It affects the behavior of the control system without being affected by the consequences of the behavior. For example, the secretion of the growth hormone or the testosterone, which influence the growth, but it is not directly modulated by variations in the craniofacial growth. They are not affected by the consequences or by the growth. Reference input elements, so they are the components that establish the relationship between the command and the reference input. For example, septal cartilage, so they are the component that connect the growth hormones and the desired position of the jaw. Coming to the reference input, they are signal established as a standard of comparison, so they are the desired or expected position of the jaw. Peripheral comparator, a component that compares the reference input with the actual output. For example, evaluating the current position of the jaw against the desired position. Then controller, a component that processes deviations and generates an actual signal. So adjusting the forces applied by orthodontic appliance based on the discrepancy between the desired and the actual jaw positioning. Actuating signal, so the output signals from the controller that initiate the changes in the system. For example, the force applied by an orthodontic appliance, they are the actuating signal. Control system, the part of the control system between the actuating signal and the direct tightly controlled variable. So the teeth and the jaws that are being moved by the orthodontic appliances, they are the controlled system, and controlled variable is the output signal of the system. So the new position of the teeth and the jaws after the application of the force is known as a controlled variable. Then gain, the ratio of output to input in the system. For example, the amount of the tooth movement achieved per unit of the force applied is known as a gain. Feedback signal, so they are the function of the controlled variable that is comparable to the reference point, means monitoring the actual position of the teeth to compare with the desired position. Disturbances, an input other than the reference chosen that is responsible for the deviation in the output signal is known as a disturbance. For example, changes in the muscle activity or unexpected forces applied to the teeth. Complete example of this feedback system is in orthodontics using a continuous arch mechanics for canine retraction follows the principle of the servo system theory, and the system continuously adjusts based on the feedback from the position of the teeth to ensure precise movement. These are the references for this video. Stay tuned for the next part, which include most important functional matrix theory. If you want this PDF or any other PDF, just like, subscribe and comment your mail ID with the topic and I'll send you the PDF. New videos on Thursday evening 6 p.m. and Sunday morning 11 a.m. Also, we try to put MCQs according to topic on our shorts with the answer and explanation if needed, which will help you in Viva or NEET exam. Like, share and subscribe the channel. Thank you.